Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Mikey. And today mm, we have a medium roast with honey, colostrum, and grass-fed milk, and it's delicious. I didn't put protein powder in today. I think sometimes the protein powder is overpowering, flavor-wise, and I just wanted, nice, good tasting coffee today, or maybe, less flavored coffee today. So I wanted to talk today about manifestation, right? So I did a class not a class, but I did a presentation at one of my groups this weekend about manifestation and how I do it in practicality. So I have a formula for it that I developed because it's more of like a cerebral practical group about getting stuff done, and it came down to what you think, what you say, and what you do. When those things are in alignment, you're unstoppable, right? And that is something that has been really useful for me once I like understood what I needed to do, and I've taken like all this coursework about like inner work and shadow work and reparenting. I've done productivity courses. I'm like super addicted to doing 8 week workshop like coursework kind of thing, kind of stuff. I started with Zero to Dangerous a long, long time ago by the Flow Research Collective. I don't even know if they offer it anymore, but it helped me break down my levels of productivity and understanding. And then I went to go do other things, right? I did nervous system mastery with Johnny Miller. I've done the connection course to the art of accomplishment. I mean, I should probably write all these down somewhere because they cost me a lot of money. I probably spent tens of thousands of dollars investing myself. I talked to my friend about this, and he told me he's like, "You probably invest in yourself more than anybody else." And I had to like sit down and think about it, and I was like, "Oh, that's probably true." Um, and it came down to I probably spend like $20,000 to $30,000 a year on coursework, and things that help me improve, like buying books, doing courses, uh, being a part of mastermind groups or groups that focus on a certain thing, and building connections with people that are on the same path. And I think that's really good and helpful in terms of like manifestation, right? I say I want the thing, all right? Like I think I want the thing. I say it out loud. I talk to people about it. I find other people because I talked about it. I find other people that are on the same path and we do the thing. So we do the things together. I take action towards it. I buy the course, I buy the book. I do the course, I read the book, and I start to implement things that are useful for me, right? You don't have to take 100% of every lesson or everything that's in a book or a course. You could just take small things or parts of it that work for you and continue to have it work for you. Or, and it's not a waste to read a book and know the stuff in it, or do a course and know the stuff in it. Sometimes it's just reaffirming that you're on the same path, or to have that as a reminder of how to keep moving forward. And it reinforces the fact that, well, I am doing it right. Yeah, because sometimes you're just, sailing in the wind. And it helps when you're intentionally sailing to the right port, um, as an analogy. And a lot of the times we have to reorientate, right? Reorient our course, right? Land nav uh, uh, is a good analogy for that. Like sometimes you can just deviate by a degree and be way off, right? 100 meters, 1,000 meters, or 1,000 yards, whatever measurement, you're going to be way off. You always have to continue to reorientate because the terrain changes, right? The weather changes. You can be way off. It could be anything. So going back to things that reaffirm, right? Like some people read books, the same books over and over again. Historically have not been a person who's done that. Usually I'm like a one and done. I read it, I took some knowledge from it, but going back and rereading things in different eras of your life, in different phases of your life, right? Like now that I'm older, I think going back and reading some books that I read when I was younger would probably be really, really nice. So like I read 48 Laws of Power in my early 20s. And I think going back and like reading and like going over now that I have more life experience, going over some of those lessons. Or I mean, I read Meditations. I didn't really get a lot from it. But now that I'm older, maybe I could. But going back to manifestation, right? Like looking at these things, like I want this, right? Like I want this job. What do I do to manifest it and take action towards it? Um, and for me in practicality, and somebody would like point blank asked me like, well, how does this help you in a way that is productive? And I was like, well, I said I wanted a six-figure job, right? I wanted a six-figure job, and I've said it out loud a bunch of times. I told one of my old bosses when I worked at the college that during one of our one-on-ones, and he kind of laughed. And he was like, "Oh, good luck," and I was like, "Thanks," because I was gonna do it, and I did it. I mean, it took me a few years, but I did it. Um, I think I left that job in 2012. I got my first six-figure job in like 2017, and it was like constant iteration, right? But like when I left that job, it was making like 33K a year, and the next job was 52K a year. And I kept making 10 to 15K jumps every year by leaving the job and going to the next job. And then I got to a point where like I was making enough money to where like, all right, I don't feel pressured to always jump to do the next thing. Um, and I mean, to be honest with you, I wasn't the best person for those jobs anyway, right? They just happened to be good jobs for me at that time, and I like them for the most part. I mean, there are good and bad things about them. I can say good and bad things about any place I've worked. But going back to manifestation, right? It's, hey, I wanted a six-figure job. I said it like I thought I wanted it, like, and I said I wanted it, so I made actions towards getting it, right? Which was looking for those kinds of jobs, looking for the skill and how to skill up. It goes back to like investing in myself. uh, it's one of those things where you understand that you want something, and you start to do tangible things to make yourself the person capable of having those things, right? Which for me is getting the right skills. I work in technology, so getting the right skills and certifications, right? I got a degree in information security, because at that time it seemed like it was the best route. And I've had information security jobs now. I'm an engineering manager, right? So there are many paths to get to the place that you want to get to, but setting the intention, right? Speaking towards the intention and making action towards it. Once those things are in alignment, right? And there are a lot of constant reaffirmations about these things, right? Now in terms of jobs, like now when opportunities for jobs come my way, I think about like this is aligned with who I am and what I want and what my goals are for the next like 3 to 5 years, right? And for the most part, no, right? Now it's not just like the six-figure job for me. Now it's, I've achieved this, and now I expand my requirements for the next role. Like, I mean, like, do I like and respect the people I work with? Like, will I like and respect the people I work with? Based off the interview, I can get a feel for the organization, the company culture, and things like that. Of course, am I compensated appropriately for the role? And do I have a future in the organization? Like as I've hit the satisfaction of the money goal, right? Anything outside of like 2 or 3 times more than what I'm making now isn't going to entice me to make the move. I mean, like, as well as if you doubled my salary, but I hated that place, I don't think it's worth it. It's not worth it. You trade your time and energy and peace for something that doesn't give you the ROI of life satisfaction. And at the end of the day, why spend time and energy and focus in places that make you miserable? And I've been that person, and it's not something I want. It's probably not something I've ever wanted, but I just had this mentality of like I just have to grind it out. I have to keep showing up and show my value, and then they see my value, and they're going to treat me better. Nope. It turned out that I just made other people look bad because I worked harder and more efficient than them, and then they eventually fired me. So, and I've gotten to the point in my life where if I am unhappy in a role like consistently for like weeks to months on end, there's something that has to change. And usually that changes me making the decision to leave, usually for something better. And don't leave a job unless you have something in hand. I have been the guy who's like quit with no plan. That's not the great move. um, and I've worked contracts that ended early, right? And I'm kind of just like, turned out other great opportunities for this contract, and when I go back and talk to them about it, like, oh yeah, we've already filled the role. Like, so in terms of manifestation, right? You have to be careful what you're manifesting and be more intentional about it. There's something called, I read a book by I think her name's Gabby Bernstein, um, on manifestation. And there's something called like manic manifestation, where like I think that's what she calls it. I'll have to go back. I didn't finish the book. Um, but you can also manifest things that you don't want, but you think and say and make actions towards it. That's why it's important to center yourself in your thinking and like think about and like get in great detail, as the detailed as you can get about it. And then the more you think about it, the more detailed you can get. Um, it's like getting practice or your reps in, right? The more reps you have, the better you're gonna get at it, right? It's whatever the 10,000 hour rule, right? Like masters typically have masters of a craft or an art typically spend 10,000 hours doing the thing, which is about 5 years of work time. I think that's what the math comes out to. So the more you practice intentionally manifesting something, the better you're going to get at it, right? So the better quality your thoughts towards what you want, the better words you're going to speak towards it, and the better actions that you're going to have towards it. Like ask yourself a better question, get a better answer. So yeah, that's just what I want to talk about today. And I think this is a good place to stop. So, I mean, how do you manifest? What does that look like for you?